Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm Paul Gustafson, and this is Healthy Hypnosis, the show that helps to educate and enlighten you on the serious-minded, helpful side of the field of hypnosis or hypnotherapy. Those two terms are often interchangeable. Well, today's guest is a repeat guest. He was here a few years ago, decided to come back for some more abuse. This is Darwin Gillette. He's the founder of the Center for Mind-Body Psychotherapy. He has his master's degree in social work from the University of New Hampshire and an undergraduate degree in psychology from Bates College. Darwin is certified in advanced clinical hypnotherapy, 5-path it's called, and he's been practicing hypnosis for 15 years. His services include utilizing several different psychotherapeutic modalities, including advanced clinical hypnosis, emotional freedom technique, and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. He employs these and other techniques to help people improve their health, professional and personal performance, and to help them realize greater success in their lives. So if you're suffering from limiting fears, depression, grief, anger, stress, anxiety, or addictions, he can help you break free from these and other issues using different mind-body therapies to quickly and powerfully integrate health, happiness, and peace into your life. Darwin's intent is always to guide clients to a path of insight and understanding that allows them to fully utilize their inherent inner healing and creativity that we as humans all possess, right?
Yes, we do.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. That's quite an introduction.
Well,
I appreciate it.
See if you can live up to it now.
Yeah,
the pressure's on.
That's right. That's right.
So you've been in this business for a while.
I have. Yeah, I've been doing hypnosis for about 15 years.
What was it like when you first got into it? I mean, it was certainly a lot less mainstream than it is now.
Yeah. It's definitely much more mainstream. I remember being down in the hospital recently, and they've got hypnotherapists on staff in their cardiac unit. So it's definitely finding its way into more mainstream situations and in the medical world. I'm sure as a nurse,
yeah,
you've seen that as well.
Yeah. What's taken so long?
I don't know.
There's mountains of research out there, right?
I know. Yeah, I don't know why it's taken so long, but here we are.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, we're pushing the word out with this show, and
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know it's good to be back.
Yeah. It's good to have you. Catch up with some repeat guests, and it's nice coming in the second time around. We know each other, you know the place, you know the process, so it's just kicking back and talking shop.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you most passionate about? What do you like most about what you do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, obviously, as a hypnotherapist, I have the traditional stop smoking, weight loss, all that type of stuff. But because I am a LICSW, I do get a lot of mental health issues as well, anxiety, depression, fears. But I think what I really like the most about what I do is working with people to help them really change their lives, to really to move forward from where they were to a new place. And a lot of times it isn't necessarily for the issue they come in for. So they might come in for smoking and or nail biting or some sort of addiction, or and over the course of a month or a couple months, they really are in a much different place, much more peace in their lives, much more joy, getting along better with significant others, relationships, that type of thing.
More mindful, right?
Yeah, much more so, and so I think that's what I enjoy the most out of it. Really seeing that shift in people, in a positive way.
And even for the people who come in for specific problems like the smoking or weight loss or stress, in my practice anyway, it seems as though everybody is finding unexpected freedom, clarity, and relief in areas completely unrelated.
Right.
To what brought them through the door, right?
Right, definitely.
Everything's connected.
Yeah, no doubt. And a lot of times we'll spend working on. I have some people that have come in for specific issues. We take care of that after a few sessions. I can think of one person that came in to stop smoking, and I've been seeing him for 2 years now. On maybe every couple weeks, helping him. He's actually a pretty successful business person, but he wants to. His goal is to make $10 million by the time he's 45, and when he came in to see me, he was making a couple $100,000 a year, and after a year, he's making about $500,000 now, and it's all focusing on changing his mindset. Sort of based on the whole law of attraction, that what you focus on, you attract more of, as well as getting yourself in that emotional state where you're attracting that. And so that's what we spend our time on that now, is just helping him to increase that, the expectation that he's going to do well. And
that's so big, isn't it? It's huge.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference. Yeah.
Anticipation is fine, but we always hear it in terms of anticipatory anxiety, anticipatory failure. But if you're anticipating freedom, relief, and success, then you'd think good things might happen.
Good things might happen, and not only that, but while you're moving forward, you're enjoying it as well. It's so it's not like you're suffering or whatever to get to that final goal. You really are constantly moving forward, expanding and growing, and ultimately getting to where you want to be, but also enjoying the ride while you're doing it.
And before I forget, that you're located up in Newburyport, right?
Correct. Yep.
How do people find you?
Mostly through the internet. I have a pretty strong website. It's mind-body-psychotherapy.com.
Okay.
So I get people that come from all over New England, actually.
Yeah.
So, as I'm sure you probably do
I
as
do.
well.
Yeah. People who are desperate to change don't mind taking a drive.
Exactly. Yeah. People. It's a woman from Nantucket the other day who.
Is that right?
Yeah. Who takes the ferry over and drives up, and it's a whole, couple-day adventure. But and sometimes we try to do back-to-back sessions to sort of make it worth their while.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
What
do you spend most of your time doing?
Well, it's a mix, and I'd say a lot of what I do, are fears and anxiety. They tend to obviously go hand to hand. I think because I am licensed in the state of Massachusetts, as a mental health practitioner, I think that attracts more of those type of people to me. And that's really rewarding as well. It a lot of times isn't necessarily all that complicated, depending on what we're working on, and so people can be pretty successful, and as we talked about earlier, really dramatically change their outlook on life. If you're not hiding in your house because you're afraid to go out, and that type of thing, really, or even just being afraid to drive on the highway or something really can change your life significantly if you're able to all of a sudden be able to do that again.
Right, big time.
Yeah.
So are you doing what's the percentage of traditional counseling versus hypnotherapy?
Yeah, traditional counseling, I don't do a whole lot of. Sometimes people are interested in doing that. Sometimes maybe we've gone through the 5-path process, or some other techniques over a number of sessions, and they're doing really well, and just want to have a sort of a check-in once a month, or that type of thing, and that might tend to be more traditional, just checking in how they're doing and that type of thing.
Like a tune-up?
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of them?
People that will go long-term that way? I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say a handful. I have a number of people that that I've seen for a few years, sort of that way, either every 3 weeks or every 6 weeks or that type of thing, depending on where they are. Not so much because they need the tune-up, more so just because they want to come back.
Right.
I mean, I definitely think I have people that come to see me, that they've already resolved their issue, whatever, because they've never been as relaxed as they are now. It's like it's kind of like getting a mental massage for them.
I was going to say that exact same thing.
Right. So, I think that a lot of people could just come back a lot of times for that reason.
Just for the feel-good aspect of the process.
Yeah, just to de-stress and relax and really be in that deep state of relaxation.
So are you advertising mental massages on your website?
Not mental massages, although that probably would be a good catchy phrase, right?
I'm thinking of putting it up now when I get home.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. No, I mean, I would love to have more clients like that, and I mean, I do get a fair amount, but they're just, like I said, it's really enjoyable to work with them and really see them move forward.
Yeah.
So,
how would you describe the process of a brand new client coming in who knows absolutely nothing about hypnosis, and how you kind of put them at ease and get them into the flow of the session work?
Well, I do have actually have a recording on my website, sort of describing hypnosis, how it works, that type of thing. So I try to steer them that way before they even come in, so they have a better understanding of the process and how hypnosis works in relation to their mind, the
Right.
subconscious and conscious. And then obviously when they come in, if they haven't listened to that, we'll talk more about that, or answer any questions they might have.
Right.
And then obviously listening to them in terms of what they want to accomplish, and trying to rephrase that so it's in a positive
Sure.
reframe kind of thing. But obviously, it's pretty hard to hypnotize somebody if they're afraid, or they don't really want to partake in it. It's
Very,
virtually
very
impossible.
small percentage, right?
Yeah, virtually impossible.
Yeah.
And that's why it's best to be for the people coming in to really be fully invested in the process. When I get people that come in because their spouse wants them to come in or whatever, a lot of times it's not so successful. They're
Right.
just,
Have them call me.
yeah, they just don't care, so much. They're not. If it's a magic bullet and they can flip a switch and change, then okay, maybe. But even then,
I don't. In my experience, well, first of all, I expected to see more of the casual clients, the people coming in just to check it out. But
Yeah.
I've been pleasantly surprised over the years now. This is year 11, that it's been a steady stream of serious-minded people who legitimately have serious changes to make.
Right.
And I don't recall the last time anybody who came in who didn't have some type of positive, impactful experience. You
Yeah.
know?
yeah,
I mean, because people out there watching don't know anything about this, and
right.
both of us are doing it, and just everybody who comes through the door is ready to
Right.
get to work. It seems.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even like I said, even if the benefit is just being able to be in a deep, relaxed state where they can de-stress, or begin to shift the perception on things, so that those old limiting beliefs or emotional blocks just aren't there to hold them back.
Well, it's the ultimate reframe tool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't ever recall anybody who came in who wasn't able to get to some level of hypnotic trance.
Right.
So you've got the people
Right.
out there who say, "Oh, well, I can't be hypnotized."
Right. Right.
It's not a battle of wills, right?
Right. No, most definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless they, for some reason, don't want to be,
Yeah.
then that's another thing. But why would they be coming into the
Right.
office to
We're
begin
not
with?
we're not giving it away.
Right. Right. So yeah, no, there has to be, it's sort of like coach and client or whatever,
Right.
as opposed to us putting our will on somebody. That's just not the way it works.
No.
So.
In fact, more the problem would be that we wouldn't phrase something the appropriate way, and they just discount what we'd say altogether.
Right.
That's more of a problem than us ever having the ability to control
Right.
someone's thoughts.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a huge misconception for people. Obviously Hollywood movies and,
Yeah.
and that type of thing really make people believe that that's the case, and that just is not the case. But because it's out there, in the media and that type of thing, sort of as that way, and even stage shows can to some degree sort of portray that.
they do.
But that's just really not the case.
I tell people it's goal-oriented meditation.
Yeah.
Go to
very
the same
similar.
place the meditators go to, the
Right.
guided imagery people,
Yep.
progressive relaxation people.
Right.
But when we get there, we got crap to get rid of, new
Right.
seeds to plant, visions to create, goals
Right.
to establish, and
Right, and the beauty of doing hypnosis as opposed to meditation or that type of thing is it really is an active process.
Right.
So, and the beauty of doing it one-on-one with somebody is that we can tailor that individually to them, based on the experiences they've had in the past, or based on their beliefs that they, those specific beliefs that they have.
Right.
That's it's a huge advantage over doing something like just a guided meditation, or even a self-hypnosis CD, and not having,
Right.
being able to really direct the process.
right. To sit down with someone for 15, 20, or even 30 minutes before a session to find out what their real issues are and be able to put together something that's tailored to their specific needs, which is
Right.
why I don't ever do groups.
Right.
When I first got into this business, I thought, oh, you have to do groups.
Right.
Started doing them, didn't like them, and haven't
Right.
done them.
Right.
It's all one-on-one.
Right.
Are you doing groups, or?
Not too much. Yeah. Yeah. And not even so. Like as you mentioned, this in terms of sitting down with them before, but also even during the session. I do a lot of dialogue, with people, and so as things come up, in the session, we can adjust things too.
Two-way dialogue, right?
Yeah. So,
Can you explain the 5-path to our viewers?
yeah, the 5-path is a 5-phase advanced transformation hypnosis, what it stands for. A hypnotherapist out of California, Cal Banyan, created the process, and I use it primarily as sort of an outline or structure for what I do. So I definitely vary from it, but the 5 phases. The first phase is really just making sure that you're at a nice deep level, doing direct suggestion type stuff. The second phase is doing age regression type work, where you might go back to, if you came in for a fear, you might say, going back to the initial sensitizing event where that fear, so the seed was planted for that fear, and then shifting their perception on that, using their adult wisdom. It could be, for example, as a child when they were 3 or 4, they lost their parents in a store for 10 minutes, and so their beliefs at that point were, oh my God, I'm never going to see my parents again. And so being able to go back to that situation and using their adult self to sort of help that child be able to get through that. And look, here's your adult self, which is obviously you're going to get through it and things are going to be okay. And so that's the second part of that. Then the third part of that is forgiveness work, forgiveness of others, which is different than maybe what you might think is forgiveness, because forgiveness is really about yourself. It's not about the other person. In fact, if you never tell the other person that you forgive them, that doesn't even matter. It's about letting go of those negative emotions, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, the hurt that person caused, that's still stuck inside yourself, that's causing you to not be successful. That person might not even be alive anymore, but you're still angry with them or still whatever. And
forgiveness is just letting it go.
Yeah. And so holding on to that anger is not hurting them at all. It's only hurting you. And then the fourth session is forgiveness of yourself. Same kind of thing. Seeing how all parts of ourselves really have a positive intention. That although you might make mistakes, you might do things you shouldn't have done or wish you hadn't done, but really, if you look down deep below that, you'll find that there was a positive intent. That your voice inside your head might be beating you up and saying you're such a loser and whatever, but the intent underneath that is to keep you safe from going too far out or that type of thing. So shifting that perception as well in terms of seeing how some of the mistakes you made really the intent wasn't to be hurtful to yourself, but really to try and protect you or try to whatever. And so being able to change that perception as well and not have to do that anymore.
Right.
So, and then the fifth phase, if need be, is more parts therapy, kind of similar to that. But if there's still a behavior that the person's still doing, like smoking cigarettes or smoking marijuana or something like that, talking with that part of them that's still wanting to do that wants that fun or whatever, and trying to come to an agreement.
Dialoguing with that part of them.
Yeah. So that's sort of the general structure, and then oftentimes, depending on how things are going or what's going on, we'll do different stuff.
And you'd be going in and out of these 5 phases during one particular session, or?
Sometimes. It depends. I mean, as I said, I sort of use it as a structure.
Okay.
Sometimes I actually do them literally, that each session like that.
Okay.
It really depends.
Depends on what you're up against and how much time you spend in one area.
Yeah. And then if I have somebody that I know has a large history of trauma or something, maybe we won't do a normal age regression type process. We might do something a little more gentle or that's not quite confrontational or not confrontational, but they don't have to necessarily go to a place that's really uncomfortable for them.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Going back to the trauma could
bring up other stuff, or just be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
So, or them maybe not be ready to deal with that. So.
You have them
Yeah.
have you have them going back to the time of the trauma and see it through a filter or see it through a TV that they can adjust the color?
Sometimes,
Or,
yeah. For specific fears, might do something like that. NLP technique, phasmophobia cure. I don't know if you've done that
No.
with the theater, where you're sitting in the balcony, sort of seeing yourself watching.
Oh,
them on the
sure.
film.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But another thing that I do a lot with clients is teach them self-hypnosis. And I do traditional self-hypnosis, which is basically putting yourself into a hypnotic state and
Sure.
giving yourself positive suggestions to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Right.
And then some imagery as well.
Yep.
But I do the seventh path process as well, which Cal Banyan also created, which is a great process as well. How it's different than traditional self-hypnosis is there's a spiritual part to it. So you have to have a belief in some sort of higher power, whether it's God or nature or love or the universe or whatever you want to call it, or the Force from Star Wars kind of thing, to sort of invoke that higher power to be a part of the process. And then the beginning part of the process is also about sort of letting go of all that emotional stuff. So there is an active part where you're getting rid of some of that junk before you start filling that cup up with good stuff. So
Right.
it's a really nice process. I really like that. And it works well in conjunction with some of the hypnotherapy that we're doing too.
So you're teaching all your clients self-hypnosis?
Those who want to.
Yep.
Yeah. And the nice thing about doing the seventh path is it's that's something that people continue on with as well.
Right.
Sometimes we might resolve the issue for the most part, but you'll keep coming back to learn more. What they call recognitions or sort of phrases that you work with. So that's a nice thing to do as well.
Do you find that those who do learn self-hypnosis and use it tend to own the process, and that the whole process means more to them and they might get more out of it?
The therapeutic process in the office, yeah, definitely. If they buy into doing the self-hypnosis, I mean, there's some people that go home and don't do it, just like some people don't go home and do their homework.
Right.
But those that do, yeah, I think they find that they actually make some changes even while they're in between sessions.
Right.
And it's something they take with them for the rest of their life. I actually had a woman come back to me a few weeks ago who I hadn't seen in 3 years, and we hadn't quite finished the process.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I've been thinking about it, and things that sort of happened in her life. Some significant people in her life died, and she's doing well, but she's been kind of using it all along, not even necessarily in hypnosis, but just sort of thinking about some of the phrases and things like that. And so she came back after 3 years to try and finish it up. So
Nice.
it's a really nice process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's never boring, is it?
never boring. No, there's always very interesting, reasons or situations where people have developed some of these fears or anxieties and then, like I said, it's great to see them break through those and move forward. That's what I find the most rewarding, is really seeing people change that way.
In pretty much short order too,
Yeah.
compared to a lot of traditional approaches out there.
Sometimes in just a couple weeks, it's a couple
Yeah.
sessions. Sometimes it's, I often tell them it might be like watching your hair grow. The first few sessions or whatever, you might not necessarily notice much of a change, but if you look back, sort of 6 weeks later, wow, I'm in a totally different place than I was before, and I'm able to do these things I wasn't able to do, and so.
I talk to my clients after their first session about the separation or the disconnect from how they feel at the conclusion of the session compared to how they felt when they walked in the door,
Yeah.
and how oftentimes their problems define them, and
Right.
they're carrying it with them. And then usually with most clients after the first session, they feel that disconnect,
Yeah.
like that crap may not even be anywhere in the room.
Right.
And we'll try to locate it. Is it here? Is it over on the other side of the room? Or is it outside of the room completely?
Yeah.
And so I suggest that they assess the distance between themselves.
Yeah, that's great.
In the past, so that with time, the more you press play and do your work, the further the crap floats away. It
Right.
seems, so.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it.
They'll experience that disconnect right away, and if they're curious and wondering how it's going to work and when they're going to be completely successful, if they can get a whiff of some separation
Right.
on visit one, then
Right,
it can
definitely.
be energizing.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you definitely want to give them something to take away with the first session.
Right.
Certainly.
You sending people home with CDs to listen to, or?
I usually teach them the self-hypnosis
Yep.
process. I do have CDs, but the idea being that we're going to try and take care of a lot of the stuff in the session itself, and then they can do the self-hypnosis on their own. The self-hypnosis, the seventh path anyway, like I said, there is an aspect of it where you're really letting stuff go in a very gentle, subtle way. So it's a nice thing to do that way. But even if they're doing more traditional stuff,
So where do you see the future of this business of ours?
Oh boy, I think it's just getting more mainstream. I've seen some shows on TV that involve looking at things differently, shifting your perception on things, and in mental health, being in that field, certainly, I think it's much more prevalent. People are using a lot of more alternative stuff, whether it's hypnosis or EFT or other energy stuff as well.
Right.
It's really it's becoming much more mainstream. People are willing to go and try it out and see how it might help them.
Yeah. I know Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Oz all have done big hypnosis shows probably in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's never a bad thing to see.
Right.
So
yeah.
Our time is almost up.
Goes fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was it's great getting you back down here again.
Yeah, it's good to be back down.
Maybe it won't be 3 years until the next time.
Maybe not.
Because this show's not going away.
Excellent. Excellent.
I think 125 and counting or something, and 45 Greater Boston communities are watching this show, and it's being picked up on a server. And I just got a call from someone in Kansas City, Missouri, who was looking for his free CD.
Wow.
So,
Good.
It's out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the job of all of us in the field, is to
Right.
spread the word and help people understand.
Exactly.
So, well, Darwin, it's been great having you on, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey folks, this has been Healthy Hypnosis, and please keep us in mind down the road. We've got some great episodes coming up. So I'm Paul Gustafson, this is Healthy Hypnosis, and we will see you next time. And then we just talk.
Okay.
Happy talk. That was
Yeah.
fast, huh?
Yeah.